I'd like to wish you all a happy Easter, and despite the festivities, we had over 6,500 players take part in the Sunday Million on April 24th. Prize pool over $1.3 million. I am David Tuckman, and this is your Sunday Million Highlights Show. We had 9 different countries represented among our final 9 players. And this is hand at number 1, blinds at 100,000, 200,000. Our chip leader, Van der Pelto from Finland, with 22.6 million chips, not going to play. Action over to Stein Tommy. Stein Tommy from Norway, with 10.6 million chips. Dream on Dream from Germany. Going to push all in with his ace 6. And this is an interesting spot. Obviously, it's an easy call for the blind, who's got 10s. But Oryx, Oryx only has 832,000 chips. The problem with 7s are, generally you want to be pushing with 7s. You don't want to be calling off your chips, but he only has 4 big blinds. I don't think he has a choice in this case. For a second, I actually thought he was deeper. He is our short stack. He is all in. No reason for Tanktown not to go all in as well with 1.2 million. I mean, Oryx is all in, doesn't really affect anything. If anything, you get better odds now. And I think Tanktown realizes that his range is way ahead of Dream on Dream's range. And you can see that he is a favorite against the field 56% of the time. He will win this pot and more than double up. Main pot is 2.7 million. Side pot is 1.1 million. 2 players all in, 9-3-3 flop. Dream on Dream can eliminate 2 players, and it looks good right now. Ace on the turn. Is there a miracle in the river? No, it's not. 4 of diamonds, and 2 players do go down. Oryx 75 out in 9th place. He had less chips going into the hand. And Tanktown 82 out in 8th place. Oryx from Russian Federation earns himself $10,155, while Tanktown 82 earns himself $15,000. And then there were 7. Our chip leader still Van der Pelto. Oscar 0610 doubles up to about 6 million chips when we rejoin the action of hand number 4. Wow, hand 1, 2 players eliminated just like that. Stein Tommy with 10.6 million chips. It's a lot of chips with the blinds at 100,000, 200,000. He's going to limp in with the kings. Try to trap a little bit. So 2 players gone. Tanktown 82, by the way, from Australia. Oscar 0610. Now, this is our most experienced and most dangerous player, Belabaski, in a small blind. Van der Pelto taps the table, the virtual table, I should say, and we see a flop. Ace, 9, 8, all clubs out there. You know, it's not a bad flop at all for Stein Tommy. You don't like to see the ace, but at the same time, it's an unraised pot. No reason to think your opponent has the ace, and plus, if he does, you're the king of clubs to boot. So even if your opponent has the ace, you figure you've got at least 11 outs, any king or any club. And there's a check raise from Van der Pelto. And obviously, Stein Tommy not going to go anywhere with the king of clubs in his hand. There's another club, and Stein Tommy's got the nuts. Well, I shouldn't say the nuts, actually. There's a straight flush out there. 6, 7 of clubs would be the nuts. But Stein Tommy has the effective nuts. Van der Pelto checks, and Stein Tommy checks. Sets the trap. Let's see if he induces the bluff. Pot is 2.4 million, and Van der Pelto going to bet 900,000. He takes the bait. And obviously, here comes the raise from Stein Tommy. Now, he does get the extra bet out of Van der Pelto, but if Van der Pelto actually had a lot more chips, he keeps the pot somewhat small. Obviously, very easy for Van der Pelto to fold this now, and he does. Stein Tommy picks up about 4.2 million, plays the kings a little cagey. So back to Belabaski. He is definitely the danger man at this final table. He won a high scoop event last year, which banked him just under 200K. He has also final tabled the high roller 10KW Coupe event in 2009. Belabaski, the bottom of your screen, has 14.1 million chips. And he also has pocket kings right now. He has raised it up 2x. And when I say 2x, I mean 2 times the big blinds. Oscar 0610 probably going to call this, and he does. And we'll see this heads up to the flop. Queen, Jack, 8. It's an interesting flop. Oscar 0610 with a pair and a gut shot. Belabaski still in command, though, with the overpair. Oscar checks. You imagine a C-bet is in order. There it is. Just about half the pot from Belabaski. And it's a check call for Oscar 0610. I thought he might get tricky and try to raise that. Well, he now has the straight, but he's not out of the woods. Belabaski is open-ended, and he might take a card here. And he does. He checks behind. It's a very, very smart check behind. I love it. King on the river. It's the third club, and this might go check down. And Belabaski does check it down and loses the absolute minimum. Well played by him. If you're wondering how and why he wins major tournaments, that's one of the reasons. He lost the minimum. The secret to this game, it's not very difficult. Win the most when you win, lose the least when you lose. Dream on Dream with 7s. He's going to raise it 2x. Dream on Dream has won over $100,000 on Stars, including a runner-up spot in the Sunday 500. The Sunday 500, one of the toughest fields you'll ever find on Stars. A very, very difficult tournament. And this is interesting. Dream on Dream makes it 2x to 500,000. Zoquete moves all in with his 6s. Zoquete, by the way, is from Spain. And now Oscar 0610 has 10s. And he is going to push over the top all in. Belabaski going to get out of the way with the King Queen. This is going to save Dream on Dream. He gets out of the way. And it is Oscar 0610's tournament life on the line. But he is in great shape. Better shape now as he flops top full house. Only running 6s will win the pot for Zoquete. Not going to happen. And Oscar 0610 now up to nearly 10 million chips. Zoquete down under 1.8 million. Jump ahead to hand 26. Blinds 125,000, 250,000. Zoquete not going to play the Queen Jack. Still 7-handed here in the Sunday Million, the April 24th version. Belabaski makes it 2x on the button. Pretty standard. Vando Pelto not going to play back at him. Stein Tommy might, though. It's going to call. I thought you might see a 3-bet there, actually. Played that one relatively safe. A little bit conservative for my taste. I probably 3-bet if I'm going to play the hand. And he is going to lead out. Now, obviously, Belabaski, a very experienced player. If you 3-bet with King 9, you have to expect that Belabaski is not stupid. He might actually 4-bet you and force you to fold the better hand. The lead-out donk, and this is great. Both players with nothing. Stein Tommy lead-out donk. Belabaski sniffs it out and is going to raise it up, and he wins the pot. I'll tell you, this guy's putting on a clinic. Belabaski from Budapest. Fantastic city. If you've never been there, you should definitely check it out. Souza with ace 5. No. No thanks. Belabaski with the 10s. Most definitely going to play this one. Once again, 2x. Raising the minimum. Vando Pelto going to 3-bet with the ace-queen. And you can't blame him. You get a cutoff raise from Belabaski. I don't mind the 3-bet with ace-queen. The only problem is when you get 4-bet, then what do you do? Now, 7-handed now, if you're short-handed or short-stacked, you don't mind shoving. Belabaski doesn't mind shoving with his 10s anyway. And Vandal Pelto is probably going to have to fold this now. You don't want to call your chips off with ace-queen. It would be Belabaski's tournament life on the line. But I'm pretty sure Vandal Pelto not going to make this call. I just don't think you can with ace-queen. But he makes the call. Wow. Well, he knows that Belabaski can push light. He figures that his 4-bet range is somewhat light. And look at this, a 27.1 million chip pot. An ace or a queen on the river, and Belabaski is dead. He's out. But it's not going to happen. The 7 of spades, and Belabaski, probably the most dangerous player and most experienced player at this final table, is our chip leader with over 27 million chips. Now, if you want to play in this tournament, you can for free. That's right. We have a free roll. It's the online poker show free roll, and we'll give you the password in a little bit. Well, this is what it looked like at hand 27. Zokiti from Spain. He was our short stack with 1.7 million. Belabaski from Hungary is our big stack. Zokiti doubles up to 3.3 million. Still our short stack, though. And as we jump ahead to hand 39. Blinds have jumped up to 150, 300,000. Stein Tommy going to make it 2x from under the gun. That's kind of the new steal spot. The old steal spot was kind of the button or the cutoff. But a lot of players realized that everybody was stealing from that spot, so players would 3-bet out of the blinds. But now a lot of players have started to open light from under the gun using the gap principle. I'll get into that in a second. 3-bet from Oscar 0610. Belabaski could actually 4-bet this with ace-king. We're still 7-handed, but he is going to 4-bet. He makes it 2.7 million. And Stein Tommy, I think it was a valiant effort. Unfortunately for him, he walked into 2 big hands. Oscar 0610. Once again, and he's going to let that one go. I thought he might actually call. He's not very deep. That's the problem. And you don't want to call off another 1.5 million chips. But he does have position on his opponent. But ace-queen, just a tough hand to play. And when you miss the flop and your opponent leads out at you, what are you going to do? Now, speaking of the gap principle, and I'll simplify it as much as I possibly can as Vandal Pelto moves all in with the king-jack. Essentially, it takes a much stronger hand to call or 3-bet a raise than it does to raise. So Stein Tommy raising under the gun, figuring, okay, I can raise with any 2 cards. It's going to take somebody with a much stronger hand to actually 3-bet me or call me. Souza all in with the ace-jack. And Vandal Pelto, who was our chip leader coming into the final table, the Finn, he is up against the wall. And unless he gets lucky, he will be out in 7th place. He's gotten lucky. What a flop for him. Top pair with the flush draw. And Souza needs an ace, and it can't be a heart. That is not an ace. It's not a heart. But either way, the 6 of spades. And Souza is all in and all out. From Prague, the Czech Republic, he is out in 7th place, earning himself $28,828. And then there were 6. Vandal Pelto gets it in bad, but give him credit. He didn't call off his chips. He pushed. Zokiti all in. Vandal Pelto going to call with the ace-8, figuring Zokiti's range definitely worse than his ace-high, and he is correct. Queen-jack against ace-8. 5.7 million.